Hey, welcome everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are. Not Instagram though, because Instagram is not yet supported for doing live work on Instagram. What's that all about? Happy Sunday. It's February 19th. Hope you had an amazing Valentine's Day. Oh, look at that. Pulled up right at the right time, everybody. Welcome. So great that you're here. Our guest today is Shelby Traylor, and she's running a little bit behind, I think. Let me see if I've got a note from her. I don't comma yet, but she should be here any moment. Shelby's an amazing real estate agent. Epic Valentine's Day. Epic with the double C and, the single C, but the double V. Hello. Glad you had a great Valentine's Day. Good for you. Mine was somewhat epic. I didn't do a great job of preparing in advance, as I don't usually on these holidays, of my wife's gift, but she was very patient. She's very kind with me, and I lived to see another day. Thank you, Alyssa. She tolerates a lot of my silliness. But today, when Shelby jumps on, Shelby's going to highlight a lot of what she's seeing in Austin, Texas, which is huge. The news is saying all these scary things about certain areas, including Austin, Texas, because Austin, Texas was a bit of a boom town during the pandemic. And so we're going to talk to Shelby about what she's really saying on the ground, because there's always the oh my gosh, the sky is falling, everything's crashing, the real estate market's a disaster. These people are out there and they're all the time talking about the market. But Shelby's going to tell us what's really happening, and she'll be here soon. She says about 5 minutes, which is awesome because it gives us some time to kind of cover some other background stuff. We're also going to talk about larger issues regarding living in Oregon versus Texas. And why did I pick Texas? Well, first off, I did California and Washington first because, those are our neighbors and a lot of people move on the West Coast up and down. But Holo, you got a great question. Is there a large population of people moving between Oregon and Texas? And the answer is yes. And it's kind of going both ways. So in Oregon, we saw in 2021, really, not so much 2020, although a little bit, there was a lot of people who were saying, we're getting out of Oregon, we're moving to Texas, right? Texas was one of those pandemic boom areas. And so we saw a lot of people from Oregon move to Texas, including some friends and including, our local state rep, Dwayne Stark, who's a awesome pastor, great guy, incredible rep for our Oregon state representatives. And he moved to Texas. And I was like, whoa, if even Dwayne Stark is moving, there's quite a boom. But what's interesting is I've had most of my clients still come from California that find me on YouTube, but the second largest population is coming from Texas, and they're coming from Dallas, and they're coming from Houston, and they're coming from Austin, and they're coming from all over the place. Yeah, I agree, Holo. It is kind of crazy stuff. It's one of those things where people move for a number of reasons. And sometimes it's politically motivated. And if that's your thing, whatever. Sometimes it's geographically located or weather or climate location. Some people are leaving Texas because of the heat and the ice and some infrastructure challenges that they have in that regard. But sometimes people are moving for family, or maybe you get a job, right? Austin, Texas happens to be a place that's really booming. I don't know if it's all Elon Musk and all of his big money, but Austin, Texas is definitely a popular place for a reason. They've got great, they've got great building. They've got great, I wouldn't say great housing supply, but they've got good housing supply. And they've got just a really cool downtown revitalized area. Shelby's going to talk to us about all that stuff. I'm telling her we're live now, and she can just jump on whenever. she is literally out doing showings on a Sunday, just working really hard because it's busy down there. It's busy out here too. But while we're waiting on that, let's do a little bit on the mortgage rates this week. Just kind of take through some of what we've seen, and we'll get to the Facebook here in a minute. But let's look at mortgage rates. Oof, kind of a tough week for mortgage rates. Why? Well, CPI came in a little bit higher. There's some real concern about stagflation starting to settle in. So, Holo, where are you from, by the way? Holo, where are you watching from? Where's everybody watching from? Will you hit me up with your location in the comments, please? Love to know where you're at. But okay, back to the mortgage rates. Here's what we saw this week. Look at that. Oof, big climb. So this was the 10th. We were at 6.5 points, and we were all thinking, oh, okay, well, not all, I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of us were thinking, oh, okay, well, this is not ideal, but we're going to make it through it, and it's going to be okay. And then things kept climbing. So we saw mortgage rates at the beginning of February. You can see there, 5.99. We were down under the sixes. And at that time, we saw a little bit of a boom. I mean, the sensitivity to rates is real, especially for people who need to finance. If you're a cash buyer, and I know many of you still out there are cash buyers, you're just kind of hanging out on the sidelines thinking, when are the prices going to come down? When are the prices going to come down? They might not. We might be experiencing some stagflation, which is not a word any of us want to talk about, but that could be what's happening here a little bit. Anyways, the rate sensitivity really impacted the housing market, and the beginning of February, and even a little bit. So it started, the rates kind of came down quite a bit at the end of January. And that's when we had some really good CPI data and the rates came down. Well, we got decent CPI data this week. It wasn't bad. Like inflation didn't, run off, and we didn't have like 1,000% inflation or anything this week, but we did see, the numbers didn't come in as good as we thought. The jobs report, which is weird, right? Like people are like, oh no, we have too many jobs. Well, that's like, what the heck? Like, why should we be concerned about too many jobs? Well, we are, for a number of reasons. And, part of the Fed's game plan includes higher levels of unemployment, because that's how they can tell that they're impacting the economy. Well, employment came in good, CPI didn't come in quite as good, and boom, rates are 6.8. It's kind of crazy. Pretty wild, really. So what the heck? What does that mean? Well, that means that there's a number of, let's see if we can find where's their calculator? I can do this. I can find their calculator. I know where it is on the, oh boy. No. I don't want a widget. Here we go. So let's just say we're going to buy a $400,000 house. Shelby and I worked on $400,000 homes and comparisons. And when the interest rates were 4.08, a 30-year mortgage, this is without taxes and without home insurance. So it's not, a over-the-top accurate number, but $1,900 a month is what you might expect to pay on a $400,000 home. Well, interest rates went to 6.5 in the last couple of days. Look at that. That's a $600 a month difference. And for many of us, that's a big deal. So when you're like, on a W-2 income, or you are dealing with maybe even self-employed income, or maybe you have a small business, $600 a month is going to be a major impact to your debt to income ratio. So that's what it's all about. It's all about the monthly payment, the debt to income ratio, how much you can qualify for, and then again, how much you want to spend. $2,500 a month might be a real pinch to your budget. Hey, we're getting some more viewers. Pop in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello. There's a lot of fun stuff going on here. Holo's out there. Holo, where are you from? again with crazy stuff. Hit us up with some comments. At the beginning of last week, we were closer to here. So what does that mean? Okay, so we were at same home. Nothing's changed. You get the same price. There's no rate buy downs. There's nothing like that. It's just a 6%. You same home at $400,000. The monthly payment, again, before taxes and before homeowners insurance, is going to be $23.98. The rates went up by 0.5% this week. Look what it did to your monthly payment. It's $200 a month. It's craziness. Craziness. Speaking of craziness, Shelby Traylor.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm sorry I'm doing this in my car. In true fashion, like true real estate fashion, I just got done with the showing and I'm like, I gotta go.
I love it. How was the showing?
Good. Really good. I have one offer in from the weekend. I'm working on another one. So I'll take it.
So you're like, so we got to keep this tight, Travis. Texas versus Oregon's got to go tight. We got offers to write. Let's go.
I mean, we do have offers to write, but no, we don't have to keep it short. We can chat however long you need me.
10 hours then, Shelby. Let's go.
All right. Well, then I'm going to have to politely say no.
Oh, how Texas of you.
See, I could have said something else, but I stopped myself.
Yeah. Hey, here's somebody who's just checked in. Maria Norton. Hi from Southern California, moving to Grants Pass, Medford area. Maria, we're going to talk a lot about that. Hopefully you've checked out the channel. I think we've chatted. And if we haven't, hit me up. I can definitely help you with moving to Grants Pass, Medford area. For sure. So welcome, Maria. Anybody else? Where are you from? Hit us up in the chat. But Shelby, I heard that the real estate market was dead, especially Austin, Texas. What's happening?
Oh, yeah. It's like it's doomsday over here. We don't need anyone else moving here.
You don't?
I'm just kidding. Everyone can move here. Do whatever you need. But yeah, it is kind of funny, right? We were talking about this. Was this last night on Instagram? We were like, it's all burning. It's all going up into flames. But yeah. No, it's not. I mean, people are moving here. And I mean, it's because of, you can stretch your dollar pretty far here, in the state of Texas. You can get a pretty big house, in comparison to probably some other areas. So, I mean, why not move here?
Totally. Well, and the economies continue to boom, right? Like, didn't you get like Tesla headquarters or Twitter headquarters, or aren't there like a gajillion headquarters now?
Oh, yeah. There are so many. I mean, I couldn't even name all of them off the top of my head. I know Elon Musk bought some land east of Austin. So, I mean, it's crazy. There's a ton of tech companies moving here. Austin's known for startups. So it's a great place for a startup company to come here. Obviously music. People love to come here for music. So, and the land, I mean, it's beautiful. Austin's super unique because you get a little bit of everything. You get the city, but you also get rolling hills, you get nature, you get just that Texas feel that you see too on cameras and, on the movies and whatnot. But it also has a city. So you get a little bit of all of it.
Yeah. I mean, last time I was there was pre-pandemic, but hoping to come this fall, but pre-pandemic, it was a lot of fun. There was a lot going on downtown, the food courts, the food shops, all the stuff was really kind of hip happening,
Yeah. What did you think about it? Did you think it truly was weird? That's what Austin's known for, is keep it weird.
Yeah, totally. Well, okay, so I spent a lot of time in Portland. I spent a lot of time in Portland and Seattle.
Yeah.
I know that y'all think you're weird down there, but you're still, which is fine. It's okay.
No, I've been to Seattle. It is not, in my opinion, it's not like Seattle. That's for sure. Portland area. Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. No, you're still, I mean, it has a lot of culture and a lot of flavor for sure. And maybe it is
flavor.
Yeah.
Flavor. I like that.
Maybe it's weird, and maybe Seattle and Portland are abnormal. Maybe that's the way to say it.
Yeah. I don't know so much about that, but it is interesting. It is interesting. I enjoyed my time. I had a friend that got married in Seattle, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, and depending on the time of the year, so I lived near Seattle for one winter basically, and there was a time where it was like 6 to 8 weeks with no sun. That was hard.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's gray clouds, and it doesn't mean it's raining all the time. It just means there's no sun.
Right.
So that can be tough. But
yeah, that would be very sad to me, like not having sunshine.
Yeah. So I asked a bunch of people on my Facebook yesterday.
Okay.
Because we've been working on this Oregon versus Texas, their pros and cons. And Rachel, I always called her Rachel Pate, but that's not her name. She was actually a teacher I worked with in Ashland. Great human. But she broke it down. She says no state income tax in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So that means zero. You pay zero income tax.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you pay for sales tax, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
there's some like pros and cons. I will say taxes in general here are fairly low. There are certain pockets of it where yes, it's going to be a little higher, like specifically, like land tax, yes, property tax, but generally speaking, if I'm like thinking about all the other places I've lived and areas that I've lived or visited, I would say it is fairly low.
Yeah, can you tell everybody where you have lived? So you're
Well, I'm from
military
West
spouse
Texas.
or were
I am a military spouse. Yes, I am. But I've only moved once where my husband was stationed at. So my husband did training in Virginia, visited Virginia a lot. He was there for about a year, and then we were stationed in North Carolina. And North Carolina is like, I mean, you can get a really, really wonderful house, like huge house for like, in my opinion, just like a very crazy, like low amount. It's just crazy to me. Like beautiful home. It's so different. It's like night and day there. It really is. But then of course, you're by the beach, and then you're dealing with like hurricane insurance and all these other things, flood insurance. Like there's more involved, right? And it's essentially the same too if you're in Texas and you're in Houston area. So they deal with hurricanes all the time. I mean, it's just like, I guess that's kind of the way of, it's like your new norm once you live in those areas. That's what you're used to and you see. Yep. I'd say taxes there are low too in North Carolina. So that didn't really, for me, the only thing that was different was really just the fact that we lived near the beach, right? So when it came to like price of home, cost of living, like all of that in comparison to like where I'm from in West Texas, I would say it's probably about the same. Now, Austin and Dallas, I lived in Dallas. I lived there for 3 years. My husband's from that area. So when we graduated college, we moved there. And I would say those two are, a completely different lifestyle living. I mean, it's the city. So you're going to be paying a little bit more to live in those areas. You have to kind of go outside of Austin and Dallas to get, maybe stretch your dollar a little more. So I've lived there. And then of course visited all over, just from having to visit people that are stationed or like friends or all of our friends that split up. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Well, and that's part of the lifestyle. So thank you for doing that. And thank you to your husband for his service. Much appreciated.
He's pretty special. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of other people that, yes, he's special for doing that. But then there are a lot of others that are still in it. Their wives are. And I just always look at them and I'm like, you are just something special, something fierce is what you guys are. So.
Totally. Yeah. It's a unique lifestyle where you have to pick up and move every couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless if you're special forces, or like maybe your MOS, like certain MOS, which I couldn't tell you exactly what that acronym is off the top of my head right now because my brain's fried. But I would say that there are specific areas of the military that will stay for longer periods of time versus moving every 2 years, which is nice. So
yeah, that is nice. Mm-hmm. Roger that. Mm-hmm. So in terms of Dallas, That's like a huge metroplex, right? We're
Yeah,
like
Dallas Fort Worth.
Houston and Dallas are like their own other
Monsters. Yeah.
Right. So it's tough to compare, but we do have, or somebody did comment on the Facebook thing the other day that said, where is this? Alyssa Berg, who is an executive with a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
Goes to Dallas almost every month in the past year and have never, ever had nice weather.
Oh, okay.
Either an ice storm, excessively hot and humid, crazy windy, tornado, and insane hail, but never just normal weather. Was that your experience? What about Dallas?
Hey, it's the norm, right? Wherever you live, it becomes the new norm. So, I mean, I'm not going to say she's wrong because, my Lord, I will tell you what, we had tree apocalypse here in Austin not that long ago. And it was, I'm switching hands, sorry, but it was crazy because it was, we have a lot of live oak trees and Austin is known for keeping their trees. We have to keep trees in the ground. Okay. You cannot remove them you really are. And if you're going to remove it, you're going to have a hard time trying to do it in some places. So, which is great. But there were a ton of trees that just couldn't carry the weight of the ice. So it really did. It looked like a tornado went through this place, and it wasn't. It was just an ice storm. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. So it becomes the norm. It just becomes the norm where you live.
They freeze and they snap, basically. Is that what happens?
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha. So that weather also sometimes it creates some issues with your power grid, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. So we're going on that route now.
Well, we're going to cover all the things, Shelby.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the poor power grid can't catch a break. It just can't. I will say this time it was not based off of, at least from everything that I've read and listened to. I mean, I'm just like any other consumer where I'm going to listen to the news and be fed some information. But from what I have been told, it wasn't so much of a power grid issue this time. It was truly the trees. There's so many trees on the power lines, and I can attest to that because my neighborhood, I mean, 2 streets were without power for a week probably because of just the damage that was done.
So how do y'all get by? Do you have fireplaces? Are fireplaces common? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they are now. I think because of what happened to us like a couple years ago, people are like, can I have a fireplace? That is actually something that has been brought up in a couple of my showings. Is it wood burning fireplace? So that's interesting you asked that because that has been asked before lately. And I think it is because of what happened a couple years ago with the power grid and just people needing a fireplace.
What about, I mean, most of the fireplaces there are electric or propane or natural gas usually? What do you usually see in terms of houses?
It just depends on the area of Austin you're in. If you're in Austin, you're going to get natural gas. I mean, it just depends truly on where you're at.
Roger that. Yeah. Got
it.
Yeah. I mean, Oregon and Washington have had wood burning fireplaces for a long time. Northern California, same vibe, right? Because the power goes out, or we have an abundance of trees, although I don't want to get all Lorax on you, but it definitely.
Now that I've lived in Austin for a while, I can say I get it. So you're fine.
Yeah, I'm not a tree hugger, but I do like trees. I've cut down some trees myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to on our property cut down trees that are diseased or have issues because they become hazardous to our property or to others, and that's an unfortunate thing, but we have to do that sometimes. But anyways, the fireplace component, I think, is something that's really helpful if you don't have a backup power generator, right?
Totally. Yeah, I do. I think that's super important. Now, the gas wasn't so much of an issue, with the whole power grid thing. So, I mean, in certain areas, maybe. Like, I was very unfortunate during that ice storm, the really bad one a couple years ago. I don't even know. This just had to have been our luck. But it just so happened that a pipe needed to be fixed that day that the storm was coming. And so we were the one street without gas, without power, and without water. All of everything was just down for us. And I was pregnant. So, just really happy inside and really just loving it. Like just really enjoying it.
I've never been pregnant, but I can empathize with the idea, the concept of it.
Yeah, the concept. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can certainly empathize with. Okay, so here's another concept. Here's another one that comes up a lot, which is I heard Texas property taxes are outrageous. And then someone who's a former student of mine said taxes are about 2% of home value, or 2.2% where they are looking in Texas.
I mean, it's all relative to like where you live, right? Everyone is going to have an opinion on what's high and what's low. So, I mean, I guess it's just like relative to where you're moving from,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's so for instance, I helped a client move from Anaheim, basically, Pasadena, right by the Rose Bowl is where she lived. And she moved up to Medford. And I was looking at the taxes on the home, and I was like, ooh, these are a little high. So it's, $3,500 a year. And she's like, what? Only $3,500 a year? That's amazing. She was used to paying closer to $12,000 a year for her property. So that's like almost $1,000 a month in property tax. That's pretty high.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I guess you're not going to air your dirty property tax laundry here.
I think it just is like relative to like, I don't know. I don't see it that way, just because I also think about like the price of a home in comparison to other places. So I think it kind of evens out. I'm looking at it more on like a per month basis. So I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like, if I'm looking at other places in the US to purchase a home, I can still buy a larger home here, have more land, and still kind of come in close to what I would be paying maybe for a smaller property elsewhere with less tax.
Yeah. Well, and here's a further point. So this is my sister-in-law, Brandy. Hi, Brandy, who lives in Dallas. She also is in real estate, and she's awesome. So if you're moving to Dallas, Brandy, check her out. Yeah. But she says, but we don't have state income tax, and in her opinion, she'd rather be taxed when she spends it than when she earns it.
Yep.
Plus, we have excellent schools thanks to the higher property taxes. Money well spent, in my humble opinion. So schools. Yeah.
I mean, again, relative to like where you're at, what's your opinion? Everybody's opinion is so different. This is so fun to do and like hear other people that like live in the area too. And like, just, I would agree. Yes, absolutely. On all that. But I'm born and raised Texan. So I'm going to put my hand over my heart and say yes to your sister-in-law. Like, yeah.
But we're not trying to mess with it. We're not trying to mess with Texas.
You're right. Mm-hmm. You're right.
We would never do that.
We would never do that. No. Yes, school districts are awesome here. I actually just had a conversation with somebody who came into my open house. And we were talking about school districts, and he's moving from north, and he was like, I can't really say anybody has said anything bad about the schools here. No one has said anything bad. And I'm like, well, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Obviously I can't tell you which one's better and which one's not. So I do my whole spiel. I send the link and everything. But in terms of, of school districts, I mean, I think they're phenomenal. I've heard nothing but wonderful things. I have, a son that we moved to a specific area for a school district. So, we wanted to keep that in mind, but I think anywhere where we're at, we would have been happy.
Is that for the Leander School District?
Except for Leander?
No, is that the district you all were excited about?
No, we are in Lake Travis ISD. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I in full Texas disclosure, I was named after, Colonel William Travis, who
really
went down at the Alamo. Yep.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yep. So Lake Travis Elementary. Okay, so here's what I always do is use this resource, right?
I love it. Yeah, if we're gonna do it, why not?
Niche.com says this is not Shelby. This is not Travis. This is niche.com saying.
I like it.
Pretty good grades.
What a good way to do a buffer, Travis. Be a middleman. I like it. We have a middleman on the screen right now.
Well, as it turns out, I spent a lot of years in the classroom, aka the middleman.
Yes.
B- in diversity.
Mm-hmm.
B-. Okay. So they're working on that. That's a journey. But look at the student to teacher ratio of 18-1. So this is a very strong school district. They all rate an A on niche.com. That's pretty impressive.
Every school is going to have its thing, right? You're going to have a bad egg somewhere, where there's like a bad rating somewhere. But I would say for us, in our opinion, we enjoy that area. That area is
What
fun.
about the Cedar Park Leander, right? Leander's a big district. That's a very popular. Do you serve that area a lot?
I do. Round Rock, Leander. I don't go too often up to Cedar Park, but yes, I've recently found myself actually traveling a ton to Georgetown as well.
Georgetown,
which is pretty far. Yeah.
All the way to Maryland, to Washington, D.C. Not that Georgetown.
No, a little far from me.
Nah, not that Georgetown.
Yep.
Look at this, Leander, #1 best school districts in Williamson County.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive. Overall niche grade A+, niche.com says. A+ teachers. Ooh, B- food.
Bummer.
If you're raising a foodie,
you might have to pack a lunch.
Yeah, Leander. Ooh, look at that student teacher ratio, 16-1. Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, moving here, I've really not heard. I obviously don't have a child in every single school district, so I can't say off of personal experience, what that looks like.
Not comma yet, anyways.
Oh no, not comma ever. So no. I guess it would be comma. But anyways, yeah. So I do find that the school quality and the school systems and everyone seems to have nothing but positive things to say about those.
Here's one in our area. This is Ashland School District.
Mm-hmm.
Niche.com says A-.
Mm-hmm.
Even worse food, C+ in this food range.
Man.
Administration not getting a lot of love either, according to niche.com. This is niche.com, not Travis Madison speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Solid college prep, same diversity. Interesting. Student to teacher ratios reported 17-1.
Interesting.
But now let's look. What if we go to Portland Public Schools? So now let's do some real talk. Portland Public Schools, niche.com says it's a B. Ooh, their administration. Sorry, administration. If you're an administrator at Portland Public Schools, this is not me. This is niche.com speaking. Resources, facilities, still pretty strong overall niche grade of a B. Let's compare that to Houston. Would you say Houston is probably the biggest school district?
Yes. Yes.
Houston. Oh boy, I don't know. Everything down there is like independent school district.
I don't work Houston, so you were asking the wrong gal. I've never lived in Houston either, so.
You haven't?
No.
No?
Nope. Dallas.
Oh, Galaxy says Texas FTW.
Yeah, there you go.
Texas for the win. Thank you, Galaxy. Are you in Texas? I'm curious what your take is.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Galaxy stopped by to say for the win. So interesting. So very similar, right? According to niche.com. So that's an interesting component. But all these things are, I love your take. It's like, you know what? Where are you from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I've adapted that because at least here in Austin, we have so many people moving here from so many different areas, right? And so you have a space where you're going to be hearing so many different opinions, and you just got to again, it's just all relative to where you're coming from and what your experience was then. And then how can we kind of flip that and show you what could be better or as great as where you were at. So,
Well, Shelby, it sounds like you're encouraging people to think for themselves. That's dangerous, Shelby. We should only do what the news says to do.
oh man, you know me though.
Why
I'm
w-
always like gonna push people to be like, oh, but you know, there's always something positive to come out
Do
of
it.
it. So
Such a
you gotta
mom. We'll
do-
talk about that later because I think that you like. I love your podcast. We'll talk about this later about how you
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
balancing all these things. Barbara Fraser,
I'm
who's
interested.
Yeah.
I feel like I keep like grabbing my phone because you have it on the screen, and I'm like, this is so interesting to see what people have asked questions about or said.
Yeah.
But I keep getting close because
Yeah, they are saying, oh, Galaxy commented, Galaxy is from San Antonio.
Nice. My little sister's in San Antonio. I'd love to know what, well, no, I guess I won't ask like what area, but.
Galaxy, we would like your address, please.
Yeah, can you
and your
give
phone
me your
number.
address and your contact information?
She's going to put you on her Sphere of Influence newsletter. You'll get it every month. Just kidding,
You'll get
Galaxy.
my monthly newsletters, all that good stuff. No, San Antonio is a fun time. Yeah.
It is
a lot of fun things. Yeah.
It is a fun time. Yeah. I'll be there this fall too, actually. A lot of Texas for me this fall. Okay. Barbara Fraser, who's a real estate agent, great agent in Oregon here, says, politics, God-loving people. I love the South. That's her take.
Oh, man.
She
She's
says,
a sweet woman.
She is a sweet woman. She says, warm weather, no smoke. She's a teacher. She works with younger people and does a great job. Teresa Smith, all my friends that have moved to Texas, see, Oregonians moving to Texas, have begged us to go. I can't do it though because it's too far from my kids' grandkids.
That's valid. It's important to do with family, I think.
I
think as long as it's a right fit for you. But yes, I do. As somebody who was far away from their family for a while, because military, I think there's an importance there. So,
but after 18 years, so I've got 3 boys. After 18 years with 3 boys, I mean, it might be okay to, am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think you should set them free. Let them figure life out on their own. You are there as a resource and to provide guidance. But yes, I think
you said set them free, and I was more alluding to kicking them out. But okay.
I mean, whatever works for you, Travis.
Teresa says, but I do have Bucci's.
Buc-ee's.
What's this?
Yeah, Buc-ee's. It's like an all-in-one exclusive gas station type situation. Like it is unique. It is, if you've gone into a Buc-ee's, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is huge. It's massive. It's the biggest gas station, like convenience shop you'll see. But it has like literally everything.
They have a truck inside of their store here.
I mean, it's
picture.
Crazy.
So it was obviously, let's see what, as we mentioned, Buc-ee's is not just any convenience store. They're loved by the locals and people passing through. But why? For one, they have all the fuel you need. Beaver nuggets. What's a beaver nugget? Is that sounds like an attack on Oregon.
I've never actually had one from Buc-ee's. I don't know what that is.
Do they kill beavers? That's not a thing, is it?
No, I don't think that's a thing. No.
I mean,
they have like a lot of like nuts, like boutique kind of style, like nuts and assortments. But no, that thing. I mean, if you've been into a Buc-ee's, you will know it is like the most unique experience you will ever have at a gas station.
I haven't been, yet. I don't. Yeah. Although Wall Drug in South Dakota, that one's famous too.
Really?
Anybody went to Wall Drug? It's crazy. It's like there's like nothing. I think it's in South Dakota. I can't remember if it's in South Dakota or Montana, or maybe it's in Wyoming. Anyways, it's up on I-90 somewhere. And for like 400 miles, they're like, Wall Drug is coming in 400 miles, and you just can't wait. Like they've got all these billboards, and then you get there, and it was fun, but whatever. This is Diana Scale Cipoletta. She says Texas hot as hell during spring through November, and ice storms and flooding in the winter. And their energy infrastructure isn't capable of handling cold weather, and politicians aren't willing to fix it. Shots fired.
Yeah, those are some shots fired.
Ranks 31 in the nation for healthcare. Bugs, 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 and more bugs. And most are designed to either kill you or make you really sick. And let's not discuss the reptiles, the rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, copperheads, and any idiot can carry a gun anywhere. Positives, no state personal income tax. But
people are loving that.
But the sales tax is 8.25%. So the taxes are certainly a benefit. But apparently any idiot can carry a gun anywhere.
I mean, I think that any idiot can carry, well, I will stop myself right now. I think that some people choose to carry a gun anywhere and they should not, but you know.
Shelby, you're very respectful. I appreciate that about you. It's one
I
of the reasons.
have to stop myself because I am like, you know, born and raised, like we gotta like, there's nothing wrong with that, with some things, but you know, I also think that could be said in other places as well. And I don't want to call somebody an idiot. So yeah. Now the reptiles and the snakes, all of that good stuff, she is not wrong about the bugs. There are a lot of bugs here, like different kinds of bugs of all sorts. You will, I can't even explain it. It's a good time. But hey, that's when sometimes maybe a gun will come in handy so you can take care of the rattlesnake.
You have to, okay, I was going to say you have to shoot the bugs. They're that big.
I was thinking the rattlesnake and the cottonmouths and all these other things. But I mean, I have not had that experience. I have had a scorpion in my house. That's something, but I haven't had a snake ever, knock on wood. I did see a tarantula just casually going across our street one time when we first moved in. But we moved out like further west. So it's more suburban kind of, you know, lifestyle.
So what kind of scorpions? It looks like striped bark scorpion is a very common one down there.
I don't know my bugs. I don't know my. It did look kind of clearish though. I will say, like a white clearish, like yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like that picture. The picture of like a little kid or somebody. I always imagine it's a little kid, right? Because I think about speed. I think about my toddler.
Well, my son was actually crawling on the floor. We were at the deer lease, and this is not in Austin. This is in Brady, Texas. And there was a scorpion just going right across the rug. And another toddler, she was maybe 4, happened to see it. And she was like, "Mommy," like yelling for her mom. And I pulled Eli, like scooted him away, and we killed it. But yeah.
Wow. This is a restaurant?
No, deer lease, like a place that we go and hunt deer.
Oh, deer lease. What?
Yeah, a deer lease, like a land that we lease out to hunt deer. And there is there's like a cabin type situation where there's different cabins that you can stay in that we lease out annually, and we go hunting.
Somebody brought this point up. That's a great point. Okay, Jennifer Russo Taylor. She's a client of mine who moved from. They actually had a home in Waco. And helped them buy a home up here. One thing we didn't realize when we moved to Texas from Colorado was that a lot of the land is privately owned. So not a lot of hiking opportunities or outside activities to do there unless you like to fish, which we were anyway. So like you can't go hunt deer on like a public land. You have to have a spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of regulations and rules when it comes to hunting, for sure. There's certain times that you can do it. I mean, just like probably anywhere, you know, everywhere. But there is a lot of privately owned land in Texas. Like you couldn't just, see a deer across. Sorry, I don't know what that means. I got a new car and it makes weird noises, and I don't know what they mean half the time.
Your car was totaled.
Oh yeah, but I've been driving that thing around for like 4 months. No,
That's a crazy realtor story. That's a good realtor story right there.
Yes. But back to the thing. Yes, there's a lot of, you can't just like see a deer going across the road and go and, you know, pull over onto the side and go and hunt it. No, I wouldn't advise that here.
Yeah, I was going to say at least you shouldn't, right?
You shouldn't. Like I wouldn't advise doing that.
Yeah.
No.
My boom arm is falling down. There we go. I have a new boom arm, and now it's a disaster. Hang on, Shelby. Oh my gosh, The sky is falling.
You're good. I'm moving my car 1 inch so it doesn't turn off. Apparently it says that it's going to turn off in 30 seconds, whatever. Why? I don't know why.
What kind of fancy car? Is this an Elon Musk car?
No. I don't know why I said it like that. No, it is not.
Sounds fancy.
No Teslas. It's just it's a Aviator. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. We won't be asking for your license plate or anything like that.
I don't even have one on here right now. So.
Here's a great point. So these last two comments, I think, were really strong.
Okay.
There's several actually. Here's a person who moved from Oregon to Texas.
Cool. Let's hear it.
So weather, Oregon, you get all 4 seasons, but summers can be extremes, and you have to deal with the wildfires all summer, so you don't get much of a summer anymore. She says in Texas, crazy. It's pretty freaking hot from May through September. Now you get extreme ice storms in January, February. She breaks down the tax force. Oregon, no sales tax, but you have a state income tax. Property taxes are a lot lower in comparison to Texas. Texas, no state income tax, but you have a sales tax and high property tax. And then I'll do people next. People in Oregon keep to themselves, not that friendly overall. They also can't drive to save their lives. That's fair. That's fair. A lot of us came from California. That's the thing. Texas, people are super friendly and welcoming, but have crazy bad road rage. That must have been what happened to you that one time.
I was stopped at a red light.
And so then you raged.
And then I just, yeah.
And then here's the kicker. COVID, Oregon, a lot of businesses are still shut down. Masking is still going on, requiring healthcare workers to get the COVID vaccine. And Texas, quote, has moved on with their lives.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some probably of those, yeah.
What do you think of that?
I love it. I mean, it's funny that she said that in Oregon people can't drive to save their lives, because I would kind of say that here a little bit, because there are so many transplants, right? So you have people from everywhere that have different rules, and they're coming from different states. So, it's funny, again, relative to like where you're coming from and where you're going, all different opinions.
Yeah. Okay. So the last two, I think, are really along those lines of thought. And so Elizabeth Holland, who's a Oregon resident, amazing, just an awesome lady. I had the pleasure of having her kid in school. Says Texas is a really big state, so to generalize about weather, bugs, etc., is worse than when people from outside Oregon assume that our weather in Southern Oregon is exactly like Portland and it rains all the time.
True, valid. Yeah, great point.
Also, being in the large cities of either state is completely different than being in the small communities.
Yep.
I guess I'd stick to input from those who have lived in both places rather than visited or read about it. For me, growing up in West Texas was wonderful. Lots of outdoors.
I wonder where at in West Texas.
Maybe we can figure this out. Lots of outdoors, short drive to New Mexico, skiing and camping.
Okay.
Great people and super vibrant university city. Oh, Lubbock.
Oh, Wreckham. Okay.
I don't know what that means, but okay. See, that's a very, Shelby's gone.
Uh-oh, sorry. Can you see me? I don't know what just happened.
That was amazing. That was great timing, which attracted all kinds. So Lubbock, so Wreckham is like
it's Texas Tech University.
Okay.
That is where my husband graduated. That is where I met my husband and I started. And then I did the thing where I followed my husband when he graduated before me. I followed him to the next city that he lived in. And I ended up graduating from University of North Texas. But Lubbock is amazing. I mean, we love Texas Tech all day, through and through. Wreckham, Red Raiders all the time. So she's not wrong. Lubbock is a wonderful place to live.
I'm sure she's not wrong. She said, I left Texas because I wanted to live in the mountains, not drive to them. Southern Oregon is beautiful, and we found lots of good people here. Both places have been very good to me, and I am thankful for it.
See, that's what I love. I love a good, positive, comment.
And Sarah Isabel who is a member of the AEI group here in Grants Pass. She's an awesome agent and just awesome person, says, wherever you go, there you are. You see what you focus on. This is what I have for Oregon versus anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I love Oregon, and specifically Southern Oregon, the beauty that literally surrounds us. It's incredible.
Oh, I love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And that's why you need to love yourself and be kind to yourself, because you're going to be stuck with yourself.
Yeah.
For your whole life.
And choose who you're going to be around, who you're going to surround yourself around too. Right?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. Well, yeah. My mom and I worked. Okay, so this is Maria. My mom and I worked in an ICU in California, never caught COVID. We were vaccinated. They are vaccinated. Then my mom moves up to Oregon and got COVID working in the ICU there. The employees don't take it seriously.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. That's, getting COVID's not fun. Like, I don't know if you've had it. It was not fun for us. My son got it when he was 10 months old, and that was not fun. I felt bad for him. Poor guy. You can't do anything at that point for that age, You just give him some, Tylenol and saline and just hope it goes away. Yeah.
That does not sound fun at all. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had it, but I didn't know I had it. So Winston, my 11-year-old son, last year, in order to, it was the year before, it starts to really run together lately. One of those years, he had to test when you were sick or you had a fever. You had to do a COVID test in order to go back to school. So I just went along to do it with him because he had been, like, he's the most tested person in our family. He's never had it. He's had like 10 tests. And the poor kid was like, I don't want them to do the thing up my nose. So I went to like, okay, I'll do it with you, bud.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And I was positive and he was negative.
Oh my gosh. And it's so crazy that like it picks and chooses how you're going to react. It's just insane. Yeah, it always has like just made me very curious. Like, that's crazy how everyone reacts so differently. And if you've had it one time and you get it again, it could be a completely different experience all over again.
Yeah, I've had a friend who has had it 3 times, and the third time it was really kicked his butt. So yeah, I hope he doesn't get it. I hope it goes away. Of course, that's, not super realistic. I also hope that everybody who wants to get a house can get a house and rates go down, and we get chocolate milk spigots installed in our homes too. Like, I wish for a lot of things. Yeah. I don't have the power for those, but Maria, it does not sound fun. Sick kiddo. So Shelby, you have a sick kiddo right now.
I do. Yeah. I have no idea what's going on, but woke up last night with 102.6 fever. So yeah, but he finally broke his fever around 3:55 in the morning. I slept on the floor because I just couldn't. Oh, wow. I don't know. It's my first. Maybe, like I told you, maybe as there was more coming on, I won't be sleeping on the floor. But I had to sleep there. I had my hand on his chest. I could feel his little heartbeat. I'm like, I just knew he was like not feeling great. But he was playing today. Kids are resilient, man. They can feel like crud one day and then wake up and be rock stars the next. It's crazy.
Yeah, true that. That's so true. But let's talk about your podcast a little bit. So you've got a podcast, which I love, which is talking about, you run a successful business. You're doing a great job in real estate. You're busier than cat hair. You serve people at a super high level. But you're still, you're a mom,
I am.
So your podcast talks a lot. Your podcast talks a lot about this. What's your experience like with all that?
Yeah, I mean, the podcast is so new, and it's definitely gonna grow more into just talking more about like motherhood and all of that good stuff. But I mean, I think I just have to always tell myself that I'm a wife and a mother first. So like at the end of the day, no matter what, I'm a wife and a mother first, and that's like kind of part of what I've always said on the podcast, and any other time I've been asked to be on a podcast, I've said, it's what my version of success is. And I said I wasn't going to say it on this thing, but yeah, it is. It's what my version of success is. And that is to be a great mother, a great wife, do my best, and hopefully serve other people in the real estate, community and with buyers and sellers the same way I would my family. So yeah, the podcast is really just a good, snippet of my life and what I'm doing and how I navigate it and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, it's awesome. And you have it on Spotify, on Apple, on all the places, right? Or is it just on Spotify?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, that's actually something that we just talked with my coach. So it was only the first one showed up on all of them, but the second one only showed up on Spotify. So I'm working out some kinks right now on it to try and get it to where it's on all the platforms so everyone has access to it. And then I have a new one going live next week. I'm actually interviewing on Thursday an agent here in Austin. She's with Douglas Elliman. She is a team leader. So she has, her own team. And she's been doing it for about 6 years. She moved from New York, high volume, really successful agent and from somebody that I look up to. And she is pregnant with her first. So I'm interviewing her, talking to her about what she's doing for maternity leave, because as somebody who I just did that, almost 2 years ago, and I didn't really have much of a maternity leave, I would say. I think I tried, but didn't do it. So I'm going to pick her brain on it. I think it would be really valuable for other people to hear how she's going to do it, and then have her back on after her baby's here and see what actually worked, like what she did, what she didn't do, and kind of just like pick her brain on that a little more. So that's
awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah. It's a huge topic, and it's a great topic and I'm glad you're doing it. Like to talk to other agents out there who are, raising families and family centered and family focused. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think,
go for it.
No, you
interrupting you. Well, I think it's just a little bit of everything too. Like I haven't just dove into parenthood, right? Like the first episode was kind of goal setting, starting the new year fresh. And then the second was like the constraints of parenthood. And I think that can be said on like male or female, right? Like as a father that's in the industry, there are some constraints that are put on you and maybe some burdens that you might have on yourself or that you've placed on yourself. Not that anyone necessarily has done that on you, place that on you. But I try to keep it really like gender, equal. Like everyone is, there's a little bit of something in each podcast for everyone, whether if you have children or not.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, I think it's a great thing to discuss and something that we don't necessarily talk about, right? Like it's integrating, it's really, acting with integrity, which is integrating your life and, how we integrate our life. Like, I think it's, it's a huge thing that's important for me. It's one of the reasons I made a career change into this, right? It's because I wanted to make the time, if you will. I wanted to have the flexibility to go to baseball or those kind of things, but sometimes we miss those things, or there's still challenges. It's not like, and as an entrepreneur, as somebody who runs a small business, that's really cool that you're sharing that with other people. I think it's really insightful. Okay, here's our last comment. James Haxby just says, and this is going to send us out on an interesting note, but he says, it's interesting to me that a lot of transients here in Oregon have Southern accents.
Oh.
So what are y'all doing? Just kidding.
I love it.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. Leaves us on quite an interesting cliffhanger. But thank you. It's a good discussion to have. I know that you're really busy, and like, congratulations on all the work that you put in. I think, for those of you out there who are watching who don't follow Shelby on like Instagram, I think she does a great job of educating people, her clients. I know that she cares about. Yeah, you're welcome. You do a very good job. I don't know how you do it, because I spend like a minute a day trying to think about it, and it's overwhelming. And it's like there's a gajillion, there's this channel and this thing and all this stuff.
So much.
But you do a very good job of making it all look well presented. I was going to mention it's at Shelby Traylor Realtor. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. everything, website, TikTok, everything is the same. The only thing that's different is my podcast, but my podcast is the Surge podcast. So, yep, that's the one thing that's different.
Well, I think it's awesome, and you're awesome. Thank you for joining us today, Maria. Hit me up, James.
So
watch
fun,
those people,
Travis. Thank you.
Well,
it really was. This was like so much fun, and hopefully, everyone enjoyed it too, as much as I did. But I appreciate you as always. You're always like so supportive and just, helpful and always there. So thank you.
That's very kind. So are you. And we'll cut everybody loose. And Shelby, I guess Texas versus Oregon really comes down. It really comes down to your preference.
Yes. Amen. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.